Welcome to Cracked Open, a podcast about life, love, loss, and the truths we discover along the way. Together, we'll explore the struggles that shape us, the lessons we carry, and the hope that keeps us moving forward. This is more than stories. It's honesty. It's healing. It's real. Let's get started. And now your host, Glen Nunes.
Welcome to Cracked Open. This is your host, Glen Nunes. Hope everyone is doing well this week. Today's episode, it's going to be called Healing Part 2. I was talking to someone recently, and they said they really enjoyed my episode 7 Healing podcast, but they said they felt that there were areas that I could have gone a little deeper on. And I went back and replayed it myself, and after listening to it, I think she was right. So there is more to say, there's more to uncover, and healing deserves that space. So I decided to continue the conversation and create the second part, diving into areas that I didn't really fully explore the first time. And healing is a very important topic. That's why I decided to do a part 2. And I'm also excited to share with you that moving forward to something even bigger, I now have confirmation from both of my first 2 guests, which is Eric Karen and Pastor Brian Doobie. We'll be recording our episodes next week, and the live podcast episodes will be coming to you very shortly. So with that being said, let's get started. This is Healing Part 2. So this is a continuation from my first episode on healing. It's a real raw version. It's not the fake version, not the Instagram version, not the cute quotes, not the move on and be positive garbage that people throw at you when they don't know what else to say. And as I said, I do these weekly, and from conversations I have and maybe the sermon in church or whatever the reason is, I get moved to change these around and just come up with these topics. I'm talking about the kind of healing today that comes after something breaks you wide open. The kind of healing that forces you to confront yourself. The kind that changes the way life, relationships, your body, your identity, and your purpose. Healing isn't one thing. It's not a straight line, and it doesn't happen just because time passes. Healing is a fight. It's a process, a rebuilding. And some of you listening right now are healing from heartbreak maybe. Some of you from sickness. Some of you from trauma that you carried your whole life. Some from guilt. Some from losing yourselves, someone else maybe. Some from choices that maybe you regret. Some from people who never should have had access to you in the first place. And some of you like me that are just trying to heal while life just keeps throwing punches at you. So today we're going to talk about healing from every angle. Emotional, physical, spiritual, identity, generational, all of it. This isn't going to be sugar-coated, by the way. This is going to be honest, raw, real, one take like I always do them, and maybe, hopefully, a reminder that no matter how far you feel from yourself or God or peace, you are not impossible to put back together. And let's get into it, okay? The true meaning of healing is a holistic, transformative journey toward wholeness, encompassing mind, body, and spirit, going beyond just curing symptoms to find balance, meaning, and personal growth, often involving acceptance, resilience, and integrating past experiences into a more authentic self. It's a process of repair and recovery, not a fixed destination, focused on self-realization, connection, and authentic living, even amidst ongoing life challenges. Okay? So let's talk about where healing really begins when you're still in love. Okay? This is a big one. Healing. It's one of those words people throw around. It's simple, like it's a step process that you can follow or a box that you can check. But healing isn't clean, it isn't quick, isn't pretty, and it's definitely not easy when you're still in the storm. Healing begins in a place where most people never talk about. The moment that when you wake up, you realize that your life doesn't look like the life that you prayed for. The future you pictured is gone, your purpose is gone, the version of yourself that you used to recognize is gone, and somehow you're still supposed to get out of bed and just keep breathing. So healing doesn't start with strength. It starts with confusion. It starts with pain, with asking, how did I even end up here? It isn't forgetting. It isn't pretending. It isn't forcing yourself to live when your chest is tight. It's when you stand in the wreckage of life you wanted, you feel the ache you wish you could numb, and somehow you whisper, I can't stay broken forever. People say time heals, but it doesn't. Time doesn't heal anything. What you do inside that time is what heals you. Healing is when you stop trying to rewrite the past and start learning how to survive the present. Healing is when you stop begging for answers and start asking God for strength. It can feel impossible when your heart still remembers the good parts and when you still miss what was most important to you, when something in you still hopes things will fall right into place as you hope for. It isn't about shutting that off. It's learning how to breathe beside it. Some of you listening, you're exactly where I am. You're caught in between what you feel and what reality is. You're captured by your heart's desires and your true love, but you're also stuck right in the middle of pain. You can't change what your heart feels or desires, but you can't stay where you are either. And that's the space right here where healing quietly begins. Not when everything makes sense, when the hurt is gone, but when you stop missing your dreams. So let's talk about healing, the kind that makes you stronger even when you're still broken, because you have to grow and move forward even though it doesn't look like what you visioned. Don't hinder potential blessings dwelling on negative from your past or in your mind. 80% of what the mind thinks about will never happen. That's a scientific fact. Go look it up, okay? Let's talk about the difference between healing and moving on. People act like they're both the same thing, but they're not. Moving on is what the world wants to see. Healing is what actually happens inside of you. The part no one sees. The nights that you sit in silence because your chest is tight. The moments that you drive past a place maybe you shared with somebody and you feel the punch in your ribs. It's the fight that you have with yourself when your mind knows one thing but your heart refuses to listen. Moving on is external and healing is internal. You can move on and still feel destroyed. You can delete pictures, block numbers, change routines, and you still wake up in the morning missing someone that you wish was there. Healing happens when you finally understand that maybe I love deeply, but I can't let that love bury me. Healing happens when you stop asking why they didn't choose you and start asking, why did you choose them? That's the difficult question. Healing happens when everything still hurts, but it doesn't control the direction of your life anymore. People see the painted picture only, not how you got there. And healing is the step that actually saves you. So you're going to hear a lot of opinions. I had someone say something to me just the other day. I just kept quiet because I knew they knew nothing of my heartfelt. It bothered me because I know how I feel and what is important to me. This girl actually said, you feel this way because this and because that, but this is reality. And she meant well, but she was missing the point. She was just saying things that I didn't agree with. Healing doesn't come from pretending something didn't matter. It comes with admitting that it did and finding a way to keep living anyway. So it's learning how to hold a pain embedded in your soul without letting it turn you into a broken person. And it takes time, not because you're weak, because you loved honestly, faithfully, loyalty, and you had no option B if you're in my position. But people who love honestly always take longer to heal, but they also heal stronger. So you got to keep that in mind. When you're done with this, you're going to come out the stronger person. So if you're sitting in the middle of this, maybe missing someone, hating the situation you're in, feeling confused, angry, but you're still hoping, you're still hurting, that doesn't mean that you're stuck. It means that you're human, and it means that healing has already started, whether it feels like it or not. One of the hardest things you'll ever face is trying to heal while you're still in love with the person that was most important to you. People who've never been through it will say, just let her go or let him go, like your heart has an off and on switch. But when the love is real, let's be honest, not the high school kind or rebound kind or the temporary kind or not the attention-seeking kind, but the kind where your soul got involved, where you would die for this person and they meant everything to you, the heart-branded kind, the deepest kind known. You don't just flip a switch and walk away. You wake up with that pain in your chest. You go to bed with them still in your thoughts. You live your day just trying not to trip over memories that show up in like landmines. Healing when you're wounded by this is like trying to climb out of a hole while something inside you just keeps pulling you back down. You can know the truth, everything is just wrong, and your heart still will fight you. because it doesn't care about logic. Love has never listened to logic, and that's what makes this kind of healing different. It's not about wiping everything out. It's about surviving it. It's about learning how to live with your heart's desires while building a life that doesn't revolve around waiting. Healing removes the control that love had over your future. You're not trying to forget what meant everything to you. You're trying to remember yourself. You're trying to rebuild the pieces of your life that fell apart in dire moments. You have to stop tying your worth to someone else's choices. It happens the moment you realize others' choices don't define who you are. It happens when you can still feel pain, but still go live your life. It happens when one random morning you wake up and the pain is not the first thing on your mind. It happens when your purpose stops being a wound and it becomes a part of your story. You don't just recover, you rise. And if this is your case and you possibly have a shot at reconciliation, they'll be returning to a stronger, clearer, more grounded version of you. And if they don't return, you'll still be whole. When you can't move on, it's been way too long, you can find yourself trying to stay busy to avoid or distract yourself from your pain. All you're doing is postponing it, or the pain won't go away. Psychologically, they stay in the back of your head. And eventually it will catch up to you. And you will eventually have downtime, and it will crash hard in your emotions. You try to heal from one relationship and jump into another, like the rebound type thing. You think that you're healing because you've replaced, or you tried to replace, the intimacy or the companionship or whatever the hell you think you're replacing. It's like using another person for medication. Avoidance just prevents you from learning how to heal and fix and better yourself. A huge problem is you only were focusing on the other person's faults, and you never focused on your issues that you had in the relationship, or the struggles or the problems. And that's bad, bad, bad. It's why so many people create patterns and they never find true happiness. They don't deal with the problem very well. They just replace. They are excited in the beginning of the new, but eventually they lose interest, and the same thing eventually happens. And what do? On to the next. They hit repeat. It's a dark red flag, that you, as the one that really fell in love, you have to pay attention to. If history and facts show that, this is a type of pattern with somebody, pay attention. Don't invest wasted love, heartbreak, heartbeats, or time, or commitment, because this type of person is just going to eventually just move on to the next specimen. So save yourself a lot of pain. Be very careful. These people repeat the same relationship crap over and over, just with a different face. Then they wonder why they keep ending up in the same painful places. It's unbelievable. Some try to think their way out of grief. They say to themselves, they're better off with someone. They list all the negative flaws, but they forget to look beyond the positive things about that person. They're so insistent on that. No matter what, it will only be negative. Even if there's 500 to 1 things good versus 1 bad, it doesn't matter. They bypass the emotional process. It splits their psyche, and it's exhausting to them. It takes up so much of their energy. And the sad thing is that they live with this every day, and they're never content, and they're never going to be content. They're just playing the game. They're always comparing, always second guessing, always searching. It's very sad. Then the constant details, the conversations, the texts, the moments of the past, not realizing good or bad, they focus on. It's just the bad. And it's planted, and it hinders the genuine attributes and the qualities of the partner. All they see or remember is the bad. That's what I'm trying to say. Sadly, the person that they're judging is really not as bad as it seems to them, because they want to force all that bad just to justify their behavior and their choices. So this is why they do this. I've done a lot of research on this. They do this for hours and hours. It's so non-productive. They never let it go. This leads to never growing in any relationship, never learning how to truly forgive, never learning the true meaning of love or loyalty. They'll never be loyal to anybody. These people usually are the social media happy people that sour from the inside, and they live with unhappiness because they're committed to this phony act. They're hiding behind the act that they thrive for, but they never find it. And the crash eventually, when it happens, it multiplies. It gets worse and worse. You have to accept that these type of people only can offer a false hope. So if you're this type of person, you should try to learn how to take responsibility of your part in a failed or broken relationship, and stop blaming, stop being the victim all the time, or you'll never be happy. You'll just chase and chase. I was in a situation where I'm talking to somebody and all they're bringing up is everything in detail I've ever done negative, every single thing, just bypassing anything positive. Like I was talking about, like they were the victim about everything. And not once did they take responsibility to realize that maybe one time they should have been there for me. But I get it. This is how the mind works, and this is how some people are. And it doesn't mean they're not good people. But maybe only I needed this person just one time, and it never happened. They don't realize that, because I get it. They're always just probably focusing on themselves. It's kind of selfish. It really is. I don't know. It's just maybe what she's been through. And it's sad because the person I'm talking about is a great person. But anyway, hurting someone by this type of thing is the worst thing you can do to somebody. I think it's up there with cheating. So many wounds are created that can never even heal or take years to. I had to heal personally from things I might not have done in a relationship that I realized I wasn't doing, and I can see them as clear as day now. I never got the chance to show this person how I did realize what I was neglecting or not adding to the relationship. I didn't mean to do it. It wasn't like on purpose, but then I realized that, wow, I should have been doing this and that and this and that. But I just never really got the opportunity to restore the relationship and show this person that I get it, and I do get it. Whether it's reconciliation down the road with somebody, this might be your case, or with the new person, they're going to get the person that you are right now. And it's going to be sad for the person who let you go. If this is you, that's how you have to start thinking. It's harder to forgive yourself than to forgive others too. Don't mislead your healing. You can feel like you're moving on, and then you can be right back to square one in just an instant. It'll seem like you've not made one step or taken one step. But that's just your nervous system and your emotions. You generally are healing. It's a process. It's a recovery. But the rushed healing is the kind that's going to bite you in the end every single time. Like the cycle that we talked about earlier, the cycle people I call them, or the pattern people. Don't be one of those. And if you are one, get ready for a constant battle with your inner self. I talked about this in one of my other episodes. It's really good to keep every now and then go writing the pros and cons about yourself, where you're at, about what happened, about your future, about everything, and put it on paper and look at it. It's really helpful. I found it helpful. It helps with the healing and accepting who someone really is, and it opens the door to a capable person who can love and match your level of love. If you're like me and you always try to heal others, you must learn to heal yourself, because you put such heavy burdens on yourself, always trying to save others, and then you neglect your own concerns, and then that other person feels the consequences of that. So it's really deep. I've done tons of studying on this, and I'm personally can talk about it because I've witnessed this. So I'm not just reading off of papers off something I found on the internet. I'm getting my knowledge from that, from people and podcasts and stuff, but then I'm putting my own experiences into it, intertwining it. That's what I do in these podcasts. Anyways, let's get back into this. So your deepest wound is always your greatest gift. The pain is not only your burden, it's your medicine. If you were betrayed, now you feel the value of loyalty. If you were silenced, now your voice carries truth. If you were broken, now you carry compassion for others who suffer. Your wound becomes wisdom, your scar becomes strength, your suffering becomes the bridge that connects you to others. Healing is found in stillness. When pain is not understood, it hides and it becomes behavior. Don't make these patterns your identity. Healing's a process where what is unseen carries more weight than what is visible. So you no longer chase closure. Closure comes from within. If they want to leave, let them. You no longer have to need to be understood. What people see in you often mirrors what they refuse to face in themselves. It's in one of the songs. I'm not going to put the song up there, but there's a song by Morgan Wallen, and he's got a line in it. It's so true. You halfway see yourself when you're looking at it. It's like you're judging somebody, and you're actually looking in the mirror, and you're too proud to admit it. But it's really a true line that he says in that song. So your worth is not meant to be proven. You stop romanticizing the past. Your solitude no longer feels lonely. And it's better to be alone than to be with somebody and feel alone, or someone that treats you like an option or that makes you feel worthless or just like pushes you aside like you meant nothing to them, you're better off being alone. And if you feel alone, you just haven't met yourself yet. You respond, not react. Before you would let your wounds control you, but now you're moving towards healing, and you pause and you respond differently. You got the anger, the jealousy, the resentment, all that fades away, and then you realize that what you were reacting to may not even be worth it, because leopards don't lose their spots. That old saying, I do believe people change, but some people it's their DNA. You have to evaluate the situation, then you move forward, and that gets you into healing. That's how you do it. You begin to create instead of escape. It's called individuation. Look up that word, the definition, individuation. Healing means that your pain no longer consumes you. Instead, it inspires you. It will no longer crave the things that poisoned you. You no longer feel drawn to the chaos that wants to find you. And you're no longer fighting for peace. You are the peace. Healing doesn't begin the moment that your heart stops hurting. It begins at the moment that you decide that your pain is no longer going to rule your life. We spend so much time looking in the rearview mirror, repeating everything, trying to analyze everything so we can just close the wound, but it doesn't work that way. You heal by growing into the person that you're supposed to be. So stop asking why they left or why they won't come back. Start asking why you're still standing in the ashes. There's a great life out there when your future is waiting for you, probably in a way better place. You're not responsible for the pain someone handed you, but you are responsible for the meaning you give it. All the pain you witnessed are invitations to rise and to choose you. It's very hard, but you must move forward. Everything will start to respond positively. You stop dwelling on the negativity that you put on a pedestal. Go back and read those pros and cons that you wrote down. Realize that they and their choices are exactly what they show and say they are. And one day, you're going to look at this brokenness and you're going to see it as a foundation to your rebuild. If you're stuck, you're tired, broken, you're not done. Not by this situation. And you're going to win, because karma is the judge in this. There's good karma and bad karma. You're going to win. So during heartbreak, it seems so hard, but walking away from that can only walk you into something better. It doesn't seem like it right now because you have that love in your heart and your heart's cracked. But it's fact. Your next chapter is nothing but better, and I guarantee it. So, I know this is a tough one today, but healing is important. So, and it's not just about heartbreak and this emotional healing. We also have the physical healing. I know tons of people who have to go through like a physical healing. People think it's just about heartbreak, but healing is layers. It has layers, different kinds, different battles, different timelines. Healing isn't just surviving a breakup. It's recovering from anything that's cracked you open. Your body, your spirit, your faith, your identity. I've watched many people I care about go through things that had nothing to do with love and everything to do with survival. Like I talked about my pastor Brian, he was paralyzed, literally could not move. He couldn't speak the way he wanted. His life got flipped upside down overnight. And you'd think healing from that should just be physical. But it wasn't. His body had to heal, but his mind had to heal. His spirit had to heal. His belief had to heal. I talked about it in an early episode about Brian. I put the details in one of my previews when I was announcing that he was going to be on one of my podcasts. Maybe I'll put that in the link in the link in the description so you can read it. But it's pretty inspiring. So when I do these live episodes, he'll be on as one of my guests, and I'm sure we'll discuss this. He speaks of it often during his sermons. It's just miraculous, and how powerful God is when you hear Brian talk about it, and how close or closer he is now to God than ever. But that's just a piece of his story. It's just an incredible story altogether, and I can't wait to have him share it on the podcast. I guarantee you will be moved. Let's get back on topic here, because when something breaks you, whether it's your heart or your body, you may start asking the same question, why me? How do I get through this? Will I ever be the same? What do I meant to learn from this pain? Healing is not about just going back to where you were. It's becoming someone stronger because of what you survived. Brian didn't heal in one piece. He healed in phases, in setbacks, in frustration, and small victories that no one saw but him. I mean, his family was there every second of this, but his personal inner healing, that's what I'm talking about. Healing isn't loud. It's quiet. It's slow. It happens in the moments when You want to give up, but you don't. And that's the truth. And that's the truth for emotional healing too. People think running to another person or into another person is healing, and it's not. That's escape. It's medication. It's all it is. Real healing is when you sit with the pain long enough to understand it, not mask it. And real healing is when you stop asking why someone hurt you and start asking what you're supposed to rebuild inside yourself. Real healing is when you look at everything that broke you, the betrayal, the loneliness, the disappointment, maybe physical pain, and instead of letting it define you, you let it shape you. Healing is spiritual too. These are battles inside you that medicine can't touch. Wounds only God sees. And sometimes the healing He gives you is not the one that you asked for, but the one that you needed. Sometimes He heals your heart before He even heals your situation. Sometimes He strengthens you before He restores anything. Sometimes He lets something fall apart because the version of you that's coming next needs room to grow. Okay? That can be from emotional pain, physical pain, or both. And here's the truth. If you're listening to this, you feel stuck, you're tired, broken, confused, you're not done. Why does healing take so long for people who love deeply? Because people who don't love deeply heal fast. They bounce. They distract themselves, and they fill the void with someone new. They convince themselves they're fine. But people who love deeply, people who give their own heart, people who give their whole heart, people who commit with everything they have, we don't heal fast. We heal real, and that takes time. And research shows and proves it. It's worth the wait, even though it seems like torment. Healing takes longer for people like us because we don't fake love. And when we love somebody, it's not a hobby, it's not a convenience, it's not attention, it's not loneliness, it's our soul involved. It's our loyalty involved, it's our future involved. You don't just walk away from that without feeling it. If you do, then you didn't really love. You didn't really truly love. Or maybe you can't love. I don't know. And we didn't replace people easily. Some folks treat relationships like musical chairs. As soon as one ends, they slide onto the next open seat. But when you love deep, you just don't want anybody. You don't just want a warm body. You don't want a distraction. You want them. Your one and only. Your only option. Your heart's forever. The connection you had, the comfort you had, the future you were building. You're our only option A. There was no B. That's why healing is slow. You're not looking for a replacement. You're grieving what was real. Everyone is wired differently, though. Healing is realizing all these factors. You can't let cruelty hold you down longer than it has to. You know, the blessing you will eventually receive, no matter if it's a God-sent person or protection from God removing someone from you, it will be something you'll thank God for later. The hardest part is it will be in His timing and not ours. That's the hardest part, because our loyalty becomes a wound. Loyal people get hurt the worst. We have decided to have all our eggs in that one basket, and because we stay long after the other person has already left emotionally, we hold on, we fight for it, we believe it, we pray over it. We don't give up easily. And when and why a loyal heart breaks, it doesn't crack. It shatters. And as my good friend Chris said, your heart has been beat up, it's been put in a blender and poured on the ground. And those pieces of puree, as Chris says, they take time to rebuild. You don't shut off feelings like a switch. Some people disconnect the moment things get tough. They numb themselves. They bury emotions. They jump into something new to avoid the mirror. But deep feelers, no. We feel everything. We don't run from the truth. We confront the pain head on. And the only way out of the pain is through it. Not through distractions or superficial situations or rebounds or any of that. That's why it takes longer. But it's also why our healing is real. Our memories aren't surface level. Shallow relationships fade fast. Deep ones stay in our bones. You remember the way they laughed, the way they touched you certain ways, or how you touched them in certain ways or moments. I catch myself driving with my hand on the passenger seat, like I always had my hand on my driver's leg, and I just can't help it. And maybe the way they looked at you when they felt safe. The nights you felt the world wasn't big enough to hold what you felt. Those memories that don't disappear and probably never gonna disappear. They never will. We don't rewrite history to make ourselves feel better either. You could lie to yourself, like some do, most out of pride or false love, I guess. Like you say to yourself, like, they never loved me, none of this was real, it meant nothing. But people who love deeply don't do that. We honor the truth, the good and the bad. That honesty makes the healing slower, but it also makes it authentic. We're not healing just from a breakup or anything like that. That kind of healing isn't quick. It's a rebuild from the foundation up. And here's the part that matters. Slow healing doesn't mean weak healing. Slow healing means honest healing. People who heal fast often repeat the same story with a different face. As I said earlier, people who heal deep never repeat the same pain twice. We rebuild smarter, stronger, with eyes open. And when we love again, we love with clarity, not desperation. So, healing takes longer for people like us, but when we get to the other side, we're unbreakable. Make sure that you remember this and believe it. One of the biggest lies that pain tells you is that someone else's decision says something about who you are, but it doesn't. None of someone's patterns or choices or supposed stories define your worth. It defines their capacity, their maturity, their emotional limits, their confusion, their fear, their impulsiveness, their reputation. Their choices say everything about where they are in life and nothing about the person you are. People with broken foundations make broken decisions, and people who don't know themselves can't choose the person who actually fits them. People who panic emotionally latch onto whatever feels safe in the moment. Just know you weren't replaced because you weren't enough. You were replaced because they didn't have the strength to face what loving you actually required. And statistics show this. The gap is filled with bad weeded soil. They usually make bad choices. Some people choose comfort over connection. Some choose convenience over truth. Some choose the easiest path, not the healthiest one. But that doesn't make them bad. It just makes them not ready. A person can love you deeply and still not be able to handle the weight of that love. They didn't leave because you failed them. They left because their own wounds got triggered and they ran towards whatever felt less intense. And the choice they make, they're not a reflection of your value. They're a reflection of where their head is. People don't upgrade when they're lost. They latch onto the nearest lifeboat. Your value doesn't drop because someone can carry it. What makes you a good person, your loyalty, your depth, your commitment, your emotional honesty, those traits scare people who aren't ready. So you didn't lose, and love is never a loss. Your worth is not determined by who stayed, who left, or who replaced you, who didn't choose you back, who didn't see your value right now. Your worth is determined by the person that you are when nobody is watching. And here's something else that you need to understand. Just because they settle does not mean you should shrink. You stay steady. You stay grounded. You keep growing. You keep becoming the person that God is shaping you into. If they ever wake up and realize what they lost, they'll face it on their own timeline. And if they never do, then God will bring you someone who matches your depth. Not someone who fears it. Their choices don't define you. Your response does. And the fact that you're here, hurting but still trying, broken but still standing, confused but still fighting for purpose, that's worth more than anything they did or didn't do. You are not the person who got left. You're the person who loved real, and real love comes back to you one way or another, with or without them. Healing isn't just emotional either. I know we've been talking about a lot of this emotional stuff, but there are different types of healing that we go through in life. I just want to lay a few of them out here because you might be going through one or more of these right now. Let's talk about spiritual healing. It's huge. This is when life breaks you so badly that your faith gets hit too. And you start questioning God or feeling abandoned, and you try to figure out why something happened in the first place. Spiritual healing is restoring trust in God, rebuilding hope, finding meaning when nothing makes sense, learning to lean on something bigger than you. This is the kind of healing that happens in the quiet moments, the God please moments, and the moments when you have nothing left but your faith. And then we have identity healing. It's when a relationship ends or a life event guts you. You don't just lose a person, you lose the version of yourself that existed with them. So identity healing is rebuilding who you are now what you value, what you want, what parts of yourself you lost trying to love someone, what parts of yourself you're rediscovering. This is why heartbreak hits so deep, because it cracks your identity, not just your heart. There's another type of healing, generational childhood healing. Some people, they're not healing from a breakup, a disease, or a physical thing. They're healing from trauma growing up, abandonment, maybe bad parenting, emotional wounds that they never acknowledged, old beliefs about themselves that still control their adult life. This is the type of healing that explains why people repeat patterns. They choose the wrong partners, they sabotage relationships, or they chase things that don't love them back. It's because it may be in their DNA without them even realizing it. I don't mean like physical DNA, I mean what they've created in their emotional DNA. Some make it out of this and some don't. Then we have pattern healing or behavioral healing. This is a healing from choosing the same kind of partner over and over, repeating emotional cycles, reacting instead of responding, being someone who avoids instead of facing problems, running into rebounds instead of recovering. This is the healing of habits, choices, and patterns that keep people stuck. I've studied this to the point where I actually put myself in the mind of such people and their patterns, and it made much more sense talking about things after the science and the knowledge of this behavior became way more clearer to me. You start to realize things and say, oh, maybe this is what happened. So then we have purpose healing. Some people are healing from feeling lost, from feeling directionless, empty, unsure of their future, unsure of meaning, unsure of what God wants for them. Purpose healing is finding out why you're here, what you're meant to do, what your next chapter is, and how you rebuild when the old purpose is gone. Some people just roll with it. They take a chance. They say, I'll try this. Maybe things will be different. Maybe this or that. They proceed through life just waiting for something to seem right or natural instead of defining their purpose, if that makes sense. So healing is bigger than heartbreak. It's physical, spiritual, identity, generational, behavioral, all these things we talked about, and even about finding purpose again. We all heal differently, but we all heal in layers. So we all have a different way of healing. So rebuilding is remembering that you were a good person long before you even met them, and you're still going to be a good person even though they walked away. You become someone your future self will thank you for. It's not for them. You stop treating the pain like it's a life sentence. Yeah, it hurts. Yeah, it's unfair. It's cruel. You did love them, but it's not the end of your story. It's realizing that your life is still happening and headed forward no matter what's in store. You rise in that silence, because what broke you doesn't get the final say. You do. You decide what you build next. You decide what comes out of this. And eventually, whether they return or they don't, or God sends you someone completely different. Let's get into the biblical perspective of healing. So God is really the ultimate healer, though, offering restoration for the whole person, the body, the soul, the spirit, through various means like prayer, faith, Jesus ministry, the work of the Holy Spirit. It's a multifaceted concept encompassing forgiveness, restoration, and wholeness, and not just a physical cure. Exodus 15:26 speaks of God's covenant promise to heal. Then Jesus' compassion, the commissioning of disciples to heal, and the promise of ultimate healing in Revelation. Revelation is a powerful book. And healing just isn't physical. It's spiritual, emotional, and relational, restoring wholeness. And you can look up these scriptures, James 5:14-16, and Psalms 103, 2-3. This is good stuff to read, so I know some of you like the scriptures, so I figured I'd throw a couple in there. We got 2 Corinthians 12:9, His sufficient grace. That's great. I'm just looking, I wrote a bunch of scriptures down. Sometimes I put too many in here. Revelations 21:4 promises a future where pain, mourning, and death are no more, pointing to the final complete healing in God's presence. We can talk about how God heals in Acts 3 and Acts 19. You can go read those chapters. And then, how healing through prophets Elijah, or the apostles Paul and Peter, and just other ordinary believers. The biblical perspective is great. So I do read the Bible, and it inspires me to do these, and it opens my mind to a lot of things. But I'm going to get back on track here. So I'm going to talk about what God does with a broken heart. So there's a lot of people who talk about God like they got God all figured out, like they can explain why things happen or why people walk out, why prayers don't get answered the way they want them to. But I don't buy any of that, because when your heart is ripped open, when the person you love turns into a stranger overnight, and when you're driving home and tears are running down your face and you're asking God, why did you let this happen? There isn't a clean explanation. There's just pain, and that's actually where God does his best work. God doesn't show up when everything's perfect. He shows up when you're sitting in your car and you feel like you don't even recognize your own life anymore. God doesn't speak the loudest when you're strong. He speaks the loudest when you're on the floor, wondering if you're ever going to feel normal again. People think that a broken heart is a setback, but with God, a broken heart is an opening. And I pray this about people. I always pray God crack their heart open just a little bit, and then maybe one day that crack will explode like a dam flowing. Because when everything goes to hell, when someone betrays you or replaces you or forgets you like you never existed, you finally reach a place where the noise quiets down and all you have left is him. And that's what he wants. And that's why James talks about that. Pure joy. And here's the one thing about God. He never wastes pain. Not one tear, not one night, not one moment where you felt abandoned. You may think that you're alone, but he's been with you for every single second you didn't know how to breathe. He saw you trying your best. He saw how deeply you loved. He saw what it took for you to hold on. He saw what it cost you. He sees the bags under your eyes. He sees the tears. He also saw them walk away. But here's the truth. God doesn't remove people to punish you. Sometimes he removes people to protect you. Even the ones you love, even the ones you prayed for, even the ones who you felt was your future. Not because they never mattered, but because they couldn't go where he's taking you next. Maybe that's the reason. God does something with a broken heart that nobody else can do. He turns it into a doorway into strength that you didn't know you had. A doorway into clarity that you were blind to before. A doorway into a version of you that only pain could carve out. You think you're being destroyed, but he's actually rebuilding you from the ground up so you don't base your worth on someone else's chaos ever again. And listen, this might hurt, but it's real. And if someone was truly meant to stay, nothing could have made them leave. And if someone was not meant to stay, nothing you could have done would have kept them. God sees what you don't. He hears conversations that you'll never know about. He sees hearts that you can't read. He sees futures you can't imagine. You think the story is over? God hasn't even hit the next chapter yet. A broken heart isn't the end. It's the beginning of a version of you that he's been trying to build for years. So if you're listening to this with a heart that feels split open, I'll tell you exactly what I tell myself. God, I don't understand any of this, but don't let this break be wasted. Turn it into something I can't see yet, because he will, and he always does. Let's talk about letting go without giving up hope. People hear the words letting go and they think that it means that you have to stop caring. They think that it means erasing memories or pretending that the love wasn't real, acting like the other person never mattered. But that's not what this is. Letting go is accepting the reality that you're facing today without shutting the door on what God can do for you tomorrow. And it's not forgetting them. You stop trying to control a story that isn't yours to control anymore. Letting go means that you take your hands off the wheel and you finally let God drive the part that you can't. You can let go and still have hope. Hope isn't desperation. Hope isn't chasing. Hope, real hope, is when you say, God, if she's meant for me, then nothing on earth will keep her away. And if she's not, give me the strength to walk forward without bitterness. Letting go is not giving up. Letting go is stepping out of God's way. Because sometimes the thing that you're praying for isn't ready yet. Sometimes you're not ready yet. Sometimes God needs to break both of you. This might be your situation. Sometimes God needs to break both of you down before you can build something stronger. And sometimes letting go is what actually brings people back. But here's the truth that we all need to swallow. If they never come back, letting go is what saves your life. Letting go is the thing that keeps you from drowning. It's what allows your heart to breathe again. It's what makes space for healing, for peace, for new beginnings, for whatever God has lined up next. Hope is not tied to one outcome. Hope is tied to the belief that God's plan is bigger than your pain and your loss. Letting go is an act of trust, trusting in God. Hope is an act of faith, and you need both. You let go because holding on to something that's hurting you isn't love, it's self-destruction. But you keep hope because God doesn't close a door without a reason. Letting go says, I release this. Hope says, but I still believe God can move. You don't have to choose between the two. You just have to stop letting their decisions be the thing that controls your life. Let go of the part that's killing you. Hold on to the part that God put in your heart. And honestly, the turning point isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning of the comeback. And here's the truth about missing someone that hurt you. You can miss the hell out of someone who absolutely wrecked you. People love to say, if they hurt you, why do you miss them? As if the heart works off logic. As if love disappears the second someone makes a bad decision. But missing someone isn't about what they did at the end. It's about what they were to you before everything fell apart. You miss the version of them that held your face and cried in your arms. You miss the person who made you feel chosen. You miss the conversations, the routines, the connection, the future you pictured, and the worst, you missed your best friend, man. That's what I miss the most. My best friend. You know, that one hurts every minute for me. You don't miss the pain. You miss the person you thought they were. You miss the person you thought they were when your heart was safe with them. Missing someone who broke you doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. It means your love was real. Pain doesn't erase memories, and hurt doesn't undo history. The current situation doesn't turn off your feelings, and your heart doesn't give a damn about details. It just remembers what mattered. And here's the truth. You're not missing their actions. You're missing their presence. You're missing their emotional bond, and you're missing the life that you were building with them, and that's normal. You didn't fake your love. You didn't pretend your connection. You didn't halfway commit. You went all in. That kind of love doesn't evaporate because they made choices that shattered you. And listen, and missing someone doesn't mean you want them back exactly as they are right now. It means you missed the version of them that you loved, the person you believed they could be, and the person that they were when they were at their best with you. The mind remembers reality, and the heart remembers potential. And the space between those two is where most of the suffering lies. So I'll say this, missing them doesn't mean they're your future. Missing them doesn't mean you will or won't cross paths again. Missing them doesn't mean they were good for you. Missing them doesn't mean God is done with you. Missing them just means you're honest about what you felt. People who love deeply feel deeply, and they grieve deeply. And you're not pathetic, you're not stupid, you're not weak. You're loyal, you're real, and you're built differently. And you miss them because you're a person who showed up with your entire heart, and that's something that, they're not going to find twice. Never. Even if they try. Even then they can fight the nonsense. Missing them is a part of the process, not the definition of your future. And one day, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, you're going to wake up and the missing won't cut as deep. It'll still be there, but it won't own you. And maybe you're there already. I hope you are. And maybe you've met somebody who made you realize some truths beyond the heart and the illusions. The love will still exist, but the power it had over your life will fade. You're going to stop replaying everything that you said, everything you did, every moment that you wish you did differently. Don't make yourself the villain, because maybe it gives you a sense of control, like saying it's my fault and then maybe I could have fixed it. But here's the reality. Good men always blame themselves, and good women always blame themselves. So let's clear something up for the one that needs to hear it. It wasn't all your fault. It never was. And stop carrying the weight that isn't yours. You showed up. You loved them, whether they saw it or not, because of their past issues or who they really are. You gave them honesty, time, and effort. And you fought for the relationship even when they didn't. Or maybe they thought they did, but they really didn't. And I'm not sure about your situation, but some will act they did try or they cared because they didn't. Because they didn't fight that extra mile. They didn't fight in that most important time that was needed. You don't throw the towel in if you truly love someone, especially for reasons that in no way could have separated you from true love. I know, because I don't believe that for a minute. So fight to train yourself to see through this and through the pain. It's hard, but will help you heal faster. And that all being said, that's not failure, it's character. So every situation varies. Maybe they walked away, maybe they drifted, maybe they entertained someone else, maybe they replaced you fast, and not because you weren't enough, but because they weren't ready for a person who was. That's the bottom line. But people who say they truly love you don't run from love, and they don't replace good hearts with chaos. If they truly loved you the way you loved them, they would have never been able to replace you that fast. Not emotionally, spiritually, physically, not in any way that actually matters. It's impossible. And no way. The fact is, what they chose reflects them, not you. They made the choice. Think about that. Really sit back and think about it. As someone said to me the other day, is this someone that you really want to be with? It's a question that you really have to put some serious thought into, because real love leaves scars. Fake love leaves quickly. And here's the twist most people never understand. The one who moves on the fastest usually crashes the hardest later. And you can pray for them, man. The one that hurts the most in the beginning heals the deepest, learns the most, grows the strongest, and walks into something better with a heart that knows its worth. Healing is a war inside yourself between the part of you that wants to move forward and the part that still aches for what you lost. Nobody tells you that healing feels like failure because you still miss someone who hurt you. And no one tells you that healing feels lonely even when people are around you. No one tells you healing isn't straight because it's crooked, it's sloppy, it's unpredictable. And people tell you time heals. Like I said earlier, time doesn't do a damn thing if you're not fighting through the pain in between. Healing hurts worse right before it gets better. Right before you turn the corner, you hit the hardest wall, you feel the heaviest sadness. You feel like you're going backwards. You start thinking that you're never going to get out of this. But that's actually the signal that your heart is trying to let go of that last piece that's still trying to hold you hostage. It's your heart fighting for its freedom, not from them, but from the pain. And the moment you choose you instead of the version of you that was destroyed, everything shifts. Healing isn't about forgetting the relationship or the pain. It's about remembering who you are without it. And the truth is, you are healing even when it feels like you're not, even when it feels useless, even when you think you're stuck forever. It means you stop letting the pain be the boss of your life. You let yourself feel the pain without letting it run the day. A memory hits, fine, let it hit, but you don't stop your life for it. You feel it, you breathe through it, and you keep going. Pain doesn't disappear when you ignore it. Pain disappears when it loses the power to freeze you. You can miss someone and still take your life back. You don't let love become a prison. You can only control the controllables, my friend. You become someone that you're proud of even while you're hurting. You live with integrity. You treat people well. You tell the truth. You honor your feelings. You don't self-destruct. You don't numb yourself. You don't become that person who hurt you. You stay a good person even when nobody sees it. That's living. You accept that joy might feel foreign at first. The first time you laugh again, it feels wrong. The first time you feel peaceful, your brain will sabotage it. The first time a moment doesn't hurt, you'll question it. That's normal. Your heart isn't used to feeling anything but pain right now. It has to relearn how to feel other things, and it will. Living again while it hurts isn't about you pretending it's fine. It's about refusing to die in a place where you never meant to stay. And little by little, choice by choice, step by step, you come back to yourself. Not the version who begged for love. Not the version who blamed themselves. Not the version who collapsed when someone left. But the version who knows that you survived and that you're still standing. So let's get ready to close this out. If you're listening to this and your heart feels like it's been split in half, let me leave you with this. Hope isn't about pretending everything's fine. It isn't denying the pain. It isn't about waiting for someone to come back. It's believing that your story isn't over because this chapter broke you. It's this kind of pain. It makes you think that your life is stuck. Like the best part of your life already happened and everything from here is just leftovers. But that's a lie. That's the lie pain tells you. The truth is, You have no idea how much future is still waiting for you. You have no idea who you're going to meet, what you're going to build, what you're going to feel again, or how much stronger you're going to become because of the exact thing that's hurting you right now. Hope isn't saying they're going to come back one day. It's saying whether they do or they don't, I'm still going to become the person I was meant to be, a better person, regardless. And hope is remembering that God doesn't close doors to punish you. He closes doors sometimes to protect you from futures that weren't strong enough to hold the weight of your heart. And hope is understanding that you can miss someone like crazy and still move forward. Hope is believing that just because you're broken right now doesn't mean that you're going to stay broken. Hope is waking up tomorrow even if you cried yourself to sleep tonight. And hope is getting out of bed even when your chest hurts. And it's saying, I don't know where I'm going next, but I'm not staying here. This pain is not the end of you. It's the beginning of the version of you that no one can break again. You're not going to die in this pain, and you're not going to stay in the darkness. You're not going to live the rest of your life at the bottom of the pit or the barrel with this feeling. This heartache is not the whole story. It's just the moment before the comeback. It is not your responsibility if the person that you lost doesn't realize what they gave up. Your responsibility is to step into the person you were built to be. A person with depth, loyalty, heart, resilience. A person who has every reason to collapse but stands anyway. That's who you are. And hope, real hope, is knowing that God hasn't brought you this far to leave you empty. Something is coming. Something bigger than what you lost. Something designed for that exact kind of person you are. This pain is temporary. This version of you won't last forever. But the strength that you gain from it, surviving it, that stays. So as a reflection on all this, even when you can't sense him, he hasn't withdrawn. And faith isn't measured by how inspired you feel. It's measured by who you turn to when you feel empty. Sometimes God doesn't remove the weight right away. Instead, he steadies you under it. He shows you that you're not held by emotion, but by his presence. When all you can do is whisper his name, that whisper is enough. When obedience looks like it's just getting out of bed, heaven notices. Don't confuse silence with abandonment. Roots grow deepest where no one can see. And what feels like stagnation might actually be grounding. God wastes nothing. Not your tears, not your confusion, not your waiting. So today, release the pressure to be okay. Rest in the truth that you are known, loved, and carried, even now. And before we close today, I want to end this episode the same way I ended the first healing episode, with a prayer. Because healing isn't something we do alone. We don't heal by our strength. We heal by God's presence. So wherever you are right now, if you're driving, walking, sitting in your room, take a breath and let this moment settle your heart. I'm going to read this closing prayer, and if the words fit you, let them be your own, okay? God, thank you for meeting us here today in the real places, the hurting places, the places we don't let many people see. Every story behind every listener, every wound, every fear, every memory that they're trying to heal from. For the ones who feel tired, give them rest. For the ones who feel lost, give them direction. For the ones whose hearts are broken, hold the pieces in your hands. For the ones who are sick, bring strength, comfort, and recovery. For those who feel far from you, remind them you never moved. Teach us that healing doesn't have to be perfect to be real. That tears don't mean failure. That silence doesn't mean you've abandoned us. Soften what has hardened inside us. Lift what feels too heavy. Restore what feels empty. Remind us that nothing, absolutely nothing, is beyond your ability to heal. And for the listener who feels they can't take much more, breathe peace into them right now. Let them feel your nearness. Let them know that they are loved, seen, carried, even here, even now. Lord, we are tired. We bring you what we have, not what we wish we had. Teach us to trust you in the quiet. Hold us steady. Do what only you can do in our hearts. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. If you made it all the way through this episode, thank you. You didn't just listen today, you walked through a piece of my heart and maybe a piece of your own. Wherever you're listening from, driving, working, laying in bed, or wherever, hear me. Whatever cracked you open does not get the final say in who you become. So thank you for letting me be honest. Thank you for showing up for yourself today. And I'm excited to announce, as I said earlier, our first live interviews are coming soon with Eric, Karen, and Pastor Brian Doobie. 2 powerful stories, 2 powerful voices, 2 great men, both confirmed, and both are coming soon. And as you heal, take care of your heart, take care of your peace, and keep going. And remember, your integrity is your legacy. Treat others the way you want to be treated, because karma has no favorites. This has been Cracked Open with Glen Nunes. Until next time, take care of your heart, your peace, and your purpose. I love you all, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening to Cracked Open. If today's episode spoke to you, please share it with someone who might need a little light in their own dark season. Remember, even in brokenness, there's beauty waiting to be found. Every crack is a place where the light can shine through. Until next time, stay true, stay hopeful, and keep your heart open.